Welcome to Precision Disc Golf. Today we're looking at Bijou course, which is in California, in South Lake Tahoe, right close to the downtown area there. So I'm playing Cali style, which means I'm going to give myself two drives. I didn't do multi-putts or approaches or anything on the course, but it's my first look at it, and this is actually the first course I played in elevation. So hole one here, about 250 feet, I want to say. Dead straight. There was a hyzer line that I tried there first with a rock 3. Got a friendly visitor there. The Husky was probably enjoying that weather there. And then the next shot here, I'm actually going with a PA3 because a local guy said you can just go up the middle with the putter. Works pretty well, so I tried that. Again, with the elevation, it's kind of interesting. It just does not really flip that much. It stays in the air plenty fine, but it just doesn't glide out the way I'm used to in Minnesota. So getting used to that. Hole 2 here was in the A position at 220 feet. And having the road right here, I guess I should have looked at the sign more, but the road was like right behind the basket. So first throw, I throw an M4 here. And again, normally that angle would work out really well for me, but it just doesn't flip quite enough. So I decided I'm going to try a leopard the next throw, which is a little less stable for me, and throw it just a little harder. Give it a great run. I kind of go right behind the basket, but about 40 deep. So take my OB and take my 3. Okay. Hole 3, another 220 some foot hole here. Just a nice hyzer. So for this sort of thing, it's perfect in the elevation. I'm just going to throw a zone and let it drop by the basket, hopefully. But these are the kind of holes I'm really liking in the elevation. Just a nice, easy zone shot. And then I decided I'm going to try to ace run it for fun, so I throw a rock 3 there and just give it a little extra height and depth. But again, those easy hole, nice and fun. The road doesn't really come into play there even because you throw past it in the first 20 feet. Okay, hole 4 here, I want to say it was in the B position, probably 346 feet. I only threw one here because, again, with the road right where I want to run it, it's not really worth trying to get a huge ace run at it. So just threw an eagle there, straight, let it hyzer out naturally. Good throw. Probably left myself, 20, 25 feet short or something maybe. But yeah, not a difficult hole. A lot of fun to throw that. Hole 5 was really the first long hole here. I want to say this is in the C position at 417. So I really thought I would be able to get there. But unfortunately, I'm not really used to controlling my distance like this. So I'm throwing a Pro Destroyer here first. And I tried to come over it, and I just didn't. I threw it pretty flat and slightly nose up. So not great for distance. I mean, easy 3, but I was hoping to get a birdie look. So here I'm taking an understable D3, trying to sort of pipe it all the way there. But kept it too low to get its full flight out, so that's all right. Again, like this is one of the longer holes on the course, and it's a pretty easy 3. So, okay, hole 6. This one was also in the A position, so 284 feet. Lost a little bit of elevation on this hole, probably 5 feet or so. So I kind of figured I would glide something up pretty easily. And so I'm going to try to just throw a rock 3 here, just on a gentle turnover, but I end up throwing it too hard. So this is kind of the first time I threw something too far right. So then I take an M4 and I just try to baby this one a little bit. So again, I'm getting a little better controlling my wrist angles on this, but that one was a little short. So it'll be a work in progress. The nice thing about this course Bijou here is it's pretty flat. It's very beginner friendly, easy to get distance. There's really no rough to speak of. And all these are in the shorts right now. So very, very easy course from that standpoint. Okay, this is another nice, just easy hyzer shot here. Just throwing a zone. I'm sorry, I think about 200 feet or so. And then I decided I want to ace run it here, so I take my overstable PA3 and throw that. This actually goes way into the road, deep, so I had to go running across the road to get that back, which was not awesome. But again, easy hole, just throw a nice hyzer. Hole 8 here, I believe, was in the B position. I want to say 249, just pretty much dead straight. So I just do what I normally do on holes at about this distance and throw a putter. So BA3 this time should go just fine, straight up the gut. A little low, but otherwise it was a good flight. I want to say I was pin high there. Then I decided to see if I could get a zone there on sort of a flex line, but I definitely did not throw that hard enough. That's one thing. Trying to get an overstable disc to do an S-curve was something I was definitely not prepared to do well. Okay, hole 9 here. I'll say it was in the A. I want to say it's 292 feet here. So I think I'm just going mid-range on this here. And I think I'm going to go rock here. So this is a brand new overstable rock 3 in the Luster Champion plastic. And that one I just put way too nose up. So I mean, it's a little past pin high, but it's way left. So then I'm taking a rock 3 I beat in. It's a DX. I also throw that a little too nose up, but thankfully it's a little less stable. So it flattens out and gives me a nice look for birdie here. Hole 10. So this was in the D position, 426, which was kind of fun. And I actually threw a bunch on this, but so what I did when I play this, I only allow myself to take one of my first 2 drives, even if I throw the rest of my bag for fun. So this wasn't really a line that the locals said you should take, but I tried to take that narrow gap to the left, and I actually missed everything at the beginning and just nicked a branch later. So here I'm taking my blue Avery Jenkins Destroyer, and I just split that gap up the middle hard. Gave myself a really nice, easy look for 3 here. I was surprised how short I was, but when I did some other practice throws, I got it within like 60 feet or so. So I don't know, it felt like I played a little bit longer than the sign read. Okay, hole 11. This one was in the B position, 256. I tried a couple hyzer routes afterwards. Definitely couldn't figure out how to get it to fade right. So I'm glad I went with this anhyzer route. It's definitely the open route. Here I'm throwing a PA4. Just a nice gentle turnover. And that was a little short, so I'm taking an M4 here. And I'm just going to throw that one a little harder with a little bit more right turn. And I actually feel like I gave this a really good run here. Yeah, I kind of got excited for a minute. But yeah, nice easy turnover hole once you're used to it. And yeah, a little bit deep, but no big deal. And just a picture of some of the scenery here is just beautiful. Again, the terrain is so nice. And the temperature is perfect. I mean, this is in the high 50s while we were there, and I just loved it. Okay, so this one was the 330-foot position off to the left, or to the right, excuse me. So there's a sort of a narrow, low gap that I'm trying to hit with an eagle here the first time, and throw it low, and I just hit one of those branches there, so it doesn't pan out. So then I try to go over the top and swoop in from the left, which I know is something I'm struggling with in the elevation right now. So that's a leopard, and I didn't think it was going to go as well as it did. Like, I'm kind of shocked it made it over at just the right angle. I guess I did end up executing it when I played this course the next time, but still, I feel like the low hyzer route's the way to go. Or, of course, if you have a really good forehand, that would be the way to go. Okay, so hole 13, this is in the dead straight position, just whatever, those 240 feet or something. So I'm just trying to spike hyzer this. I really didn't commit to it. That's one of my most overstable discs, so I don't know what I was thinking there, throwing that a little bit short. And then I thought, well, let's try and go up the middle. It looks really tight, but that's all right. And I hit one of those iron leaves, and that's all right. It's not really a preferred route. I can tell when I played this hole afterwards throwing a Thunderbird, it was there every time, or a Firebird would be good, but just throw it a little harder. Hole 14 was in the C position, 384 feet. I didn't feel like it was playing 384, and I can tell you because the first shot here I'm throwing a Destroyer, and I feel like I threw that one pretty good. Definitely got right around the pin, but it was almost up to the next tee pad. And here I'm actually throwing a rock. So this is a rock 3, and I generally don't throw my mids 384 feet. Now, even though I might have gotten, a 30-foot skip there or something like that, I went back and threw this hole a number of times. So that was just pin high with a rock. Actually, I was a little past pin high. And I was able to, in the air, get it past there every time. So I feel like the distance on there is off. Maybe it should be 350. All right, hole 15, this is 270 uphill. And just a nice little turnover shot. Again, just angle control, as all these fairways are really pretty open for the most part. There's a few holes that are tricky. So there I threw a rock, and I did not translate the uphill portion well at all, or turn it over. I didn't do anything well there. So here's an M4, And same sort of thing. I mean, it's a little more forgiving, but I just didn't commit to my line, and then I just threw it straight up the hill. So I went pretty far deep on this one. I want to say I was like 40 deep uphill. And then you just leave yourself a long comebacker. I mean, again, though, the nice thing is there's really not any rough. So, I mean, even if you're pinned against a tree, getting your 3 shouldn't be hard. Okay, so this was in the C position, I want to say 417 feet. Slightly downhill, so I definitely thought this was a nice reachable 400-foot hole. And I watched some locals play it, and, well, they didn't really play it well, so I didn't learn a lot. But I looked and I thought this hyzer line sort of just right of that first tree stand there looked pretty tempting. So threw a destroyer there, and I just kept it too tight. So I decided to throw a destroyer again, and I'm going to just lay it out a little bit wider, and I execute that correctly. So I think that's about the right throw. I mean, you could probably throw it a little harder and a little bit lower, but I felt good about where that landed. I mean, I left myself a 25, 30-foot putt here for 2. And, shouldn't be hard, but I don't know. You got to make your putt to make your 2. Great hole. And if you can tell, the backdrop just sort of nestled in by the lake, and the mountains around it are just stunning scenery. Okay, hole 17 here was in the A position, 275. This felt a little bit more like golf at home here. You had to keep it pretty tight in the fairway. So here I'm throwing an eagle just because I don't have any height to really play with. So I need to throw something I can throw hard and keep it low. Gave that a really nice run, just a little deep. And then I decided for fun to throw a thumber on this. Probably not a really smart play, but because it was pretty open, I thought, why not? And the thumber was close. It just wasn't quite where I wanted it. I got pinned behind a tree. So I think it's doable, but I wouldn't advise it. Okay, hole 18. I want to say this one was in the C position. It's hard to say. But anyway, this one was just sort of a hyzer. No, it was probably in the B position. It looks like a pretty tight hyzer is what I was trying to throw here. I wasn't satisfied with these off the tee, but they ended up being pretty good shots. So that was just a rock 3. And here's another rock 3. And I thought that was great, but it was too high. So it's sort of just a touch shot. Got to be a local, I think, to really have this nailed. But like I said, I mean, it ended up in a good position. So hard to argue with that. Hole 19. This one, I believe, was in the D position, 324. So this one I really didn't know what to do with. You would have to have a good flex line with a forehand as a righty to do this. So I was throwing an eagle here, tried to throw it low, and just sort of like give myself a chance at a long putt. It was a really tight window, and so I didn't even bother throwing 2 there, because I'm like, honestly, I don't think I'm really going to improve on it much. And then that was an awful upshot, but okay. So it also looks like that's normally a marsh, so I wasn't sure if it would be soft. Hole 20 here, I believe is in the D position at 430 feet. And so you sort of play up and above this path here, and then it goes pretty good right, sort of a button hook sort of look here. So I'm throwing an understable D3. I got about the right flight. It was just a little low, so that's all right. It was a bit narrow of a window than it looks to get it there. So I gave myself an easy approach shot at 100 feet or whatever here. So I mean, again, not a big deal. I think once you throw the shape, as long as you're sort of inside the main tree line, there's definitely enough looks to play with. Okay, hole 21 here was in the D position again, 375. This hole is definitely not my kind of hole. I mean, I could have played it much smarter than I did, but I've decided I wanted to try rollers. And as you'll see, there's something that is a work in progress for me. So I'm trying to roll a D3. As you can tell, those trees are sort of right in the way of where at least I know how to throw a roller. So I try again here with a leopard. I don't hit the tree, but it wasn't really a roller. So either way, don't take my advice and lines there on the rollers. Poor choice. But the leopard ended up having a pretty nice line because, again, they're big trees and mature, but as long as you can find a line through them towards the basket, you can have an easy up and down. So easy 3. Hole 22 here was in the B position. No, maybe it was in the A. I think it was in the A. Sorry, only 286 feet. And there was all these low branches, so I decided just to go over everything. So I throw a thumber. It was kind of a tall number to ask of myself, and I threw it pretty hard, but I got it there. It was pin high. It was just to the right, about 25 feet or so there. So for me, I think I'd number that every time. Otherwise, you could try like a low skip shot. Hole 23, this was 246, just dead straight. And I don't know why I made this hole so hard. As you'll see, I just don't execute for beans on this hole. So I tried throwing a zone because I thought I need to keep it tight to that tree. Again, I definitely didn't. I needed to throw it a little bit wider. So I tried the same thing with a PA3, thinking that it won't hyzer out so bad, but I released it with too much hyzer and pretty much have the same result. So there's just two bad throws. This should be a pretty slam dunk, easy hole. Just throw a putter straight 240 feet and you're under the basket. But that's all right. That's why we throw them. 24 here. This one I want to say, which position was this? Well, I want to say this is in the 309 position. Oh no, this was in the 376 position. I'm sorry. So here I'm throwing a D3 because it needs to sort of just trend right the entire way. So that's my understable D3, and it really was perfect. It's everything I wanted, so I didn't bother throwing a second one. I didn't really think I would improve on it. I also thought I was a little closer to the basket, but thankfully I make that straddle putt. But yeah, that hole it's tricky. Those low guardian things make it a tough shot. Okay, hole 25 here was in the B, 330 feet off to the right. Just a nice flex shot, and I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident with my release angles. So first shot there, I throw a leopard, and I actually kept it in the air too long. It went deep and too far right. I was like 50 deep there. So then I'm taking a rock 3 here, and knowing that won't cut as hard right, just try the same line, and really just works out perfect. I mean, the result was perfect. I truthfully can't believe it got through all the trees and sat where it did. So I'm thrilled it did. I'm just surprised. So, well, beginner's luck on the course. Hole 26 was definitely in the A position here, 243 feet straight, and the pin was just slightly tucked away on the right there. So this is a tricky shot. For me, a PA4s, I just wanted to finesse it straight and give myself a nice look for putt, which is what I do. So I don't even bother worrying about a second drive on this one because I thought I was in great shape. And I was about 20 feet away here. But, well, you guys still got to earn that putt. Okay, hole 27 was in the B position, 338 uphill. And with the uphill, I've been noticing that I've been leaving things a little short uphill. So I decide I'm really going to commit to this one. And I'm going to throw a leopard. Yeah, because I feel like it probably functionally feels like 360 or 370. But anyway, leopard doesn't work out well, so I decide I'm going to throw a D3 and just try and finesse it up and actually hit my line this time, which works out perfect. I thought it was actually a little short because it was too low, but again, the ground is so hard packed, it just sort of like skipped all the way up next to the basket. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. That is my review of Bijou. Beautiful course, a lot of fun, easy golf. And thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. See you next time.